Welcome to Happy Today podcast. This is a podcast for those who want to improve service experience of internal services. If you use ServiceNow or other enterprise service management system, then this is for you.
Hey, welcome to this episode of Happy Today podcast. Today we are talking about internal versus external outsourced service desk. In an earlier episode, we saw how happy our customers are making their employees and what kind of improvements they are making. But today we are focusing on numbers, internal compared to outsourced. And it seems that the internal service desks are making employees 22% happier and 47% more productive. Sami, what's going on? What are the numbers?
This was the first time we calculated this difference. So we did go through all our customers and checked which of them are having insourced and which are having outsourced service desk, and just comparing those numbers. So this is not how much better they have been with our product. That was the earlier episode. This is about the current situation exactly now.
Okay.
So totally average numbers, but very big difference here. And I think the real right question here is what is causing this?
So Sami, is it caused by the watermelon effect?
I think that was the easiest way to get rid of the watermelon, but the watermelon effect is hitting the whole industry. Yeah. Now so it just hit you, but it is hitting the whole industry.
I think we talk a lot about watermelon effect, but let's go through it. Like, what do we mean with the watermelon effect? What is the green? What is the red?
So kind of this whole watermelon we have been using that for years, and when we started to use that was when I was having discussion with different CIOs, and they were telling me that I'm meeting those partners and we are checking those SLAs and everything is on green, so we should be doing fine.
Yeah.
But then they continued. But then I hear so much complaints from our end users and our business units that they are not satisfied at all. So I cannot understand what is going on. Everything should be fine.
Yeah.
So SLA is green, but still employees red.
Yeah. And so the metrics and the KPIs are green, but still the experience and the perception of the employees is that IT sucks.
Yeah. Or at least that is what they are saying about it.
Yeah. Okay.
And this kind of the whole thing here is when comparing these to insourced or outsourced, I think in insourced service desk, you are not so concentrating to meeting the metrics. So it's not about that the outsourced service desk at just would be worse. It is how we measure it and how we force them to use the traditional SLAs and meeting those without really thinking how we serve the people.
So basically with internal service desks, it's much easier to leave the SLAs out and actually just try to do a really good job.
Yeah.
And with the external ones, because you are buying pretty expensive outsourcing, you need to have contracts, and what you put in the contracts is what gets measured, and what gets measured is kind of what gets done. Yeah. So is that really that is
the thing, and I think one of the things here is that sadly it's not so simple to do an agreement that would be measuring the whole service experience. So you set those targets for your first line service desk, which is only responsible for some of the cases.
True. And
then it's going to different vendors behind it and so on. So you in some cases even mitigate those cases away from your targets.
Yeah.
And you start to kind of through targets and metrics that are really they don't really matter.
True. And
from the agent's perspective, if you think about it, you are also having sanctions on your vendor.
Yes.
So if you don't meet these targets, there will be 50k euros or pounds that you have to pay back.
Yeah. So how would this, for example, that you see from the data that actually people are really happy with the password reset, but why wouldn't you now automate it? Think about it from the outsourced vendor's point of view.
Yeah, this is really sad but true. That there are cases that we have heard where the vendor is just meeting the target of the SLA in end user satisfaction.
Yeah.
And they know that 20% or 30% of the cases are password resets, which is keeping them on the positive side. So they are not really motivated to automate those cases, and they would then not meet the target, which would mean that they would be sanctioned on it. So the measurement is running the business. So you're not doing the wise things, and it is not that the vendors wouldn't know this. They know it really well that they are forced to do a bad job.
Yes.
And if you think about that from an agent's perspective, you are forced to resolve 20 cases per hour, you are measured by that. What that really means as an employee in an agent. You are measured how fast you are getting rid of your customers, and that is causing them not joining their job. And they will make sure, let's say one example, email. You have set a target in your SLAs that you have to answer the email in first 2 hours. Yes, the agents will send some answer to the end user, asking some questions, and we have been so many times seeing those emails and seeing responses that why did you ask me things that I already written in the first email. That is caused by the SLAs. That poor agent is forced to do that by the management, and it's just that you are measuring things wrong. It's not that the MSP would be here responsible of it. It is the customer and the agreement that is running the thing.
So do you think that the experience level agreement would be an answer to this problem? People are talking about XLAs and experience level agreements.
I think that is a part of it, but still I would say that it's not going to be resolved by an agreement. It is, XLAs are more like a way of cooperation and trust. So the only way to make outsourced service desks to be better than insourced is to work together and having kind of a common team with common targets. Not so that you are like this, you try to push the cost pressure on the vendor and you try to make them take all the responsible everything and handle everything. They cannot.
And I think there's good examples. We have a couple of customers like Regit Benkaiser RB in UK, who has an external outsourced vendor, and they just set this happiness as their target, and they are making now huge improvements monthly on their scores. So they are now focusing on making the employees happier and more productive. Then we mentioned the Wilhelmsen case in one episode, and there are so many more who are all the time working together with the vendor. And I think the whole experience level agreement thing, it's quite complicated. I don't think that there's currently one right answer to it. I think it's something that we'll explore in the episodes to come. Maybe interview some customers, some providers of how they see how it could work better. But it's definitely a trend, because we had a happiness report webinar a few weeks ago, and there were 100 participants. And there was one person who said that he didn't believe in experience level agreements. I would say there was 90% who said that they strongly believe it, and then the rest were kind of saying that maybe, but with some doubts. So it seems to be the consensus in the industry that people are believing on this topic. They are now just thinking like how to solve it. So
and the big question there is the basics is very, very simple. It's about measuring the experience and focusing on the experience, not on factual stuff that happened in the ITSM tool. But the challenging part there is that it's to get rid of that and get rid of that control feeling that the customer is having with that agreement. And that needs to be kind of a cultural change in that area from the customer side. That okay, I will give you an option of 6 months. We forget the old SLAs, we focus on this one, and we make the changes. And after that, we come back to the table if there was no success. But what we have seen in those cases where customers have done that they have said that, okay, let's, like Virgin Trades, they said, let's stop the SLA games. I just love that sentence from Dean Underwood. But it's just the right way. It is games if you are just trying to meet the watermelon.
All right, I think that's a good topic for this episode. And if people are interested more about XLAs, watermelons, you can go to happysignals.com. So of course we try to help our customers to actually get to this maturity level. So first get the transparency, get this trust ongoing, and then setting those levels without even actually touching the SLAs. So I think the SLAs will have their place. They are like secondary metrics that might give you an indication where we are going wrong. But then if you are wanting to learn how to set up this kind of experience level targets, we are happy to talk more on that. All right, thank you for this episode and everybody online. So stay happy.